Right, let's have a look at the situation and see how things are going to pan out over the next few days. So this is a short little video, my first, just to go through with a video, as I said, may make it a little bit easier to understand what's going to happen over the next few days as we start the new week with some heat and increasing humidity, and maybe then the risk of a few thunderstorms. So let's see how we go on. So we'll start by looking at the air mass imagery, and you can see the main players to kind of start the week are going to be this upper trough to the west of Ireland, and the west-southwesterly flow on the southeastern side of that. A kind of growing ridge of high pressure. You can see yesterday's trough over here, over eastern Germany and Poland, pushing away. And this little feature down here, this little rather benign feature to the west of Portugal, is actually going to be quite important in the evolution as we go through the next few days. That's a kind of partially disrupted upper trough. You can see the red in here indicative of some vorticity or spin in the atmosphere, and as I said, that's going to be important because that is going to be eventually moving northeastwards towards the UK, and that is then going to help in the potential destabilisation of the atmosphere, but perhaps leading to some scattered, quite heavy showers and thunderstorms through the middle of the week. Another way to look at that is on the GFS 500 millibar flow, and again we can see the same players here, the west-southwesterly flow to the northwest of Ireland and Scotland, the trough over eastern Germany, and you can see this same bullseye, this little red dot here to the west of Portugal. That's an area of, the yellow and red on this chart is cyclonic vorticity, so that's spin in the atmosphere, air that is rising and spinning, and that is generally where areas of showers or rain or thunderstorms are more likely to be found. So what's going to kind of happen? Well, at the moment we've got clear blue skies, and we can see that on the satellite imagery, the visible satellite imagery there showing lots of clear skies across the British Isles, or at least England and Wales, and down across France and down across Iberia as well. And you can see there, this on the visible imagery, that bullseye doesn't look much to speak of at the moment because it's over the water. So in essence, there isn't much scope for any kind of convection to develop there. It's rather benign over the cool shelf waters of the northeastern Atlantic. But what will happen over the next few days, if we follow the GFS through the next few days, we can see that over the next 24 hours not a lot happens. By kind of 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, we've still got this upper level or partial upper level trough to the west of Iberia. We've got this other main upper trough and the jet stream to the northwest of Scotland, in the northeast Atlantic as well, and we've got this feature beginning to come north across Biscay into northwestern parts of Iberia, but we've still got very much a ridge here. You can see this ridge in the middle troposphere across the western Mediterranean, up across France, into the British Isles and into much of western Europe as well, and increasingly warm as well, temperatures getting into the high 20s or even low 30s over the next couple of days. Excuse me. So running the sequence a little bit further forward, if we move through Tuesday, we can see by the time we get through to the end of Tuesday, things are beginning to change a little bit. We've got the ridge now orientated from the Atlas Mountains up across the western Mediterranean, and still a nose of ridge of high pressure across Germany and central parts of Europe. But we're starting to see this cyclonic vorticity moving northwards, but it's splitting out, it's losing its identity. We don't have that sharp bullet anymore. We have this kind of scattergun of vorticity as it comes northwards towards the UK, and that's going to be important because it's also potentially going to be quite problematic in where we see the showers and the thunderstorms developing as we go through the middle of the week. And at the same time, you see on here there's no real sharp upper trough to the west of Ireland. There's no sort of jet diving southwards, and a strong upper trough here, which would kind of be the focus and the fuel for the showers and thunderstorms. We don't see that here. It's a rather benign, rather kind of flabby looking area of upper troughing. Another way to look at it is on the 850 millibar wet bulb potential temperature, and here we can trace the heat and humidity as it comes northwards. So today we have this kind of blue, light orange or kind of faded orange. It's 10 to 12 Celsius. It's kind of ex-polar maritime air. It's the Atlantic air that's still with us from yesterday across the UK. When you can see down here across Spain, we've got much higher levels of heat and humidity. We've got 18 to 20 Celsius wet bulb potential temperature down there. And what happens if I run this little sequence? We can see that over the next 24 hours, that warmer air from Iberia begins to advance northwards. So we've got not only heating through descent of the atmosphere, so the air through the area of high pressure is sinking, so it is warming. We've also got advection of warmer air from the south. So it's a double whammy, which is why it's getting warmer over the next couple of days. So we can see through to Monday. By the time we get through to Monday evening, we've got 18 to 20 Celsius wet bulb potential temperature. This is much juicier, much more humid air coming north, and that's knocking on our doors tomorrow. It's not quite with us, but it does get here overnight into Tuesday, and by the time we get through to Tuesday, we've got kind of 14 to 18, even as high as near 20 along the very far south coast. But you can see to the northwest across Ireland and Scotland, they're still in the 10 Celsius. They're still in the Atlantic air up here. This heat and humidity is only really going to be affecting the more southern and southeastern parts of the country. It isn't going to make it towards the north. And then as we go through Wednesday, you can see again there's no real clear dividing line out to the west. It's a rather broad, rather messy area of high wet bulb potential temperature. These are going to be the areas of fuel for the thunderstorms that break out, and you can in fact see that here on the ECMW itself. This is the model simulation satellite imagery of Tuesday evening, and it's suggesting that thunderstorms will erupt over northwestern France, essentially using that high octane air, that high wet bulb potential temperature air at 850 millibars. The storms love that fuel. They love that to kind of continue their development and grow through the evening and the night. But it does make the forecast for the following day somewhat problematic, because the storms tend to use up and modify their own environment. So in essence, it becomes challenging to know how much of this air is going to be around on Wednesday morning across the southeast, because we don't know yet how much of it any French storms on Tuesday night are going to take up. So if we run it through, you can see through into Wednesday. Again, we've got 16 to 20 Celsius wet bulb across the south and southeast of the country, and we've got the indication of some showers and thunderstorms beginning to break out. But then later on, as we go into Thursday, that heat begins and humidity is pushed away into the continent, and we start to see somewhat more fresher air coming in from the west again. So if we go back to and have a look at the ECMWF as another model, and if we look through its cycle, it again does something very similar with it. The bullseye to the west of Iberia comes north. We then get the scattergun of vorticity, spreads out, comes up towards northern France, comes in towards the British Isles as we go through Tuesday night. Not sure how much of it's going to impact us on Tuesday, but as we go into Wednesday, there's some indications there that another upper trough is going to come in from the west, while there's still going to be some residual heat and humidity across England and Wales, and that is perhaps more likely to trigger some showers and thunderstorms. But again, as I stress, it's quite uncertain at the moment as to where exactly we're going to see the thunderstorms form, how many we're going to get. They're generally going to be quite scattered, I think, but depending on this vorticity and its orientation and its makeup as we go through Tuesday and into Wednesday, it's going to be important to see how much of it is showing up and how much activity activity we've got to play with. The models keep kind of oscillating. If we look at the icon, for example, they have a slightly different view of what's going to happen. They come north with, again, the scattergun vorticity, but then as the next upper trough comes in, they have a much sharper trough coming in here as we go through into Thursday morning. So they've got more, that model has more general outbreaks of rain developing and a more coherent area of low pressure forming over southeast England as we go into Thursday. So that's a slightly different variation on it. The UK Met global model again has gone from having nothing across southern and southeast England to being quite bullish. Now we have some quite intense rain and thunderstorms moving north from its midnight run as we go through into Wednesday and into Wednesday night across particularly the south and southeast. Some indications of some very heavy rain and embedded thunderstorms across parts of southeast England as we go through Wednesday night. So as I said, it's very much all to play for. The situation is not well defined, and it is likely that we're going to see further model variations as we go through the next couple of days. But for now, it's heat and increasing humidity, temperatures up to 30 or 31 degrees Celsius over the next few days, increasingly humid, and then that chance of some thunderstorms across the south. I hope you found that useful, and hopefully I'll be back to do another one. Thanks.